I am sorry.
Me too.
Oh my goodness. Hey guys, welcome to Wingin' It, the West Wing Podcast. My name's Andrea. With me as always is my fearless co-podcaster.
That's me. I'm Sally. Hi guys.
And we are going to talk about season 3 episode, we'll call it 12, 100,000 airplanes.
It's a lot of airplanes.
That's a whole stinking lot of airplanes. Mm-hmm. Where do you think they would keep all those airplanes?
That's a good question.
It's a large hangar.
Airplane places.
Well, should we recap this with a TikTok?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We should.
Great.
We should do that.
It is State of the Union Day. Mm-hmm. Hooray! I love the State of the Union episodes. The SOU, for shorthand.
I do too.
And basically, Sam's ex-fiance, which, we didn't know he had one.
Yeah.
He does. She's there, and she's writing a feature story on him, much to his chagrin. So that's going on. Josh and Amy have what we'll call a second date, so there's a little bit of that. The president has a dinner party with Abby's friends, who are a bunch of oncologists, and gets this crazy idea that they're going to be able to cure cancer within the next 10 years, and he wants to include it in the State of the Union because we find out in this episode that the presidential censure did take place. This episode takes place over the span of 2 weeks, so they're just letting us know that did indeed happen, the presidential censure.
Yep. And
Toby's working on the State of the Union and needs a lot of pie. Is there anything else I'm missing?
A lot of pie. I don't think so. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Joey Lucas is there. She's working on the polling.
Joey Lucas.
So it kind of jumps back and forth.
Yeah.
Yes. I got to see, when I was in New York, when we were interviewing Donna, which if you haven't listened to that, whew, man, I mean, you probably have, so it's really good. I went and saw Marlee Matlin, Joey Lucas, in Spring Awakening, because it was the first ever Broadway show with ASL integrated cast.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool. If you have a chance, go see it.
Very neat. Women of the West Wing.
Yes, showing up.
Yep.
Where to begin?
I don't know.
Do we need to re-sing? I feel like I won't be able to use the first one because we were off time with each other.
Oh yeah, we can. Let's re-sing.
Okay.
Da, 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 Yep, that was great.
I hope people like our remixes. I kind of wish that people would, make those little remix videos on YouTube with like news stories.
Oh god.
Kind of like they do for the opening of Kimmy Schmidt. It's so good.
Oh, I love Kimmy
If somebody
Schmidt.
did that could be my birthday present, right?
There you go. Yeah. It's perfect. Everybody get on that. So, I really don't know where to begin, but we should just jump right in. Okay, so we'll just jump right in with Amy and Josh for me, because that's my biggest pain point, obviously. So let's get that out of the way, and then I can just gush about the rest of the episode. I don't mind their whole storyline in this, and I'm not going to just talk every episode about how I don't love her, but I think...
Plus, we differ on that. I do actually like her.
Yeah. And it's really hard. I mean, and I talked about it the first time I ever talked about it. It's a hard thing for me to not like because I want to like her so much. Like, it's so different from Mandy, where I just didn't like anything that comes out of her mouth. But there's the scene where they are in the bar getting their drinks. I was watching them, and really, my issue is how little her face and head move in general. And it's like one of those things that like you can't unsee. Like, for example, Jess on Gilmore Girls has a speaking, not an issue, but he has like dead nerves in one side of his mouth, and so he talks out of one side of his mouth. And it's one of those things that, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it just drives me crazy.
It's like a ventriloquist.
But really, there are genuinely entire lines where her face does not move. And especially when you're pitting her against Josh, Bradley Whitford, who is so animated and so, his eyebrows are moving every millisecond. And like, he's constantly moving. He's on, he's like a little kid almost. When you put her next to that, it's just something that just drives me bananas. And I hate that it drives me bananas. I hate that. I'm going to stop saying bananas any minute now. I hate that it bugs me, but it's just...
Sally saying bananas drives me bananas.
It's just one of those things that, like, once it clicks in your head, you can't undo it. You know what I mean?
Sorry, everyone who liked her before.
I know, I really am sorry. See, with Mandy, I'm totally, like, hateful and totally unapologetic in my hate. But with Amy, I really feel bad about it because I do like her storylines. I like this storyline. I thought was interesting. That
you just want her to move her mouth more.
Yep. Maybe lift an eyebrow every now and then. Look surprised or upset. I don't know. But
oh gosh, we'll be sure to tell Mary Louise Parker.
I know. I feel so awkward about it.
We'll never get her on the podcast now.
No, I know. I'm really sorry. But like. I don't know. Oh, well.
Well, let's talk about one of the notable quotables. I want to play it here. We didn't talk about this beforehand. But, I mean, I think every woman knows the part that I'm going to play from Amy. When she's not talking in this episode, telling Josh that he shouldn't be talking, that's pretty much her line. I don't even know how many times she says it, but she does end with this gem, which I'll drop in here.
Perhaps.
Don't talk to me.
I should just sit here?
Yes.
And?
Not talk to me.
Amy.
I have wit, I have charm, I have brains, I have legs that go all the way down to the floor, my friend.
You don't have to...
Just don't talk to me.
Like, it's kind of a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But I love it, and I think I'm going to start using it now with boys who are trifling. So there.
Trifling. Yeah, like, see, that's the thing. It's like, I like her dialogue. I like her lines. I like her banter with Josh. I like this storyline because I like the idea that, like, maybe Josh is overreacting or, maybe he wants this guy to be using her or maybe he really is. Like, it's just an interesting storyline to me.
Yeah, it's not often that we get bro talk either. So, when... I also like how available, and we'll talk more about Toby, but I like how available he is in this episode because he's trying to let things percolate and he's kind of wandering around.
Yeah.
So, he asks Sam why he didn't get married, and
he's
talking to Josh about Amy and about his whole theory about who she's dating. So it was just interesting to see the guys trying to figure out the women in their lives together.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting. I liked Toby in this episode. He has the lines about pie. He also seems it's interesting that they make such a big deal about Sam in the State of the Union and, like, not as much with Toby. I mean, they do kind of, but Toby's just like, maybe Sam, I don't know. They were all helping with it, though, so it's odd. But...
Yeah, I mean, usually it's Toby. I know they work together.
Usually it's at least both of them.
Sam-centric. There was hardly any Toby at all, except for him wandering the halls a bunch.
Right. Wandering the halls and talking about relationships and wanting pie.
I wonder if it was just like a Rob Lowe thing, though. Like they were trying to give him
maybe more
of a star vehicle.
Honestly, I felt like I was missing a Toby subplot in this episode because there was also a scene with he and Josh. I think it's the first time he says he wants pie, where... It's after Josh is sort of given those marching orders, which that was an odd scene as well. But after Josh is given those marching orders, Toby is like walking towards his office and he's just talking about things. He's like, oh, it's, we haven't even started. Don't ask me about the speech, blah, blah, blah. And there's this weird, or maybe it was just me imagining it, but there seemed to be this weird energy between Josh and Toby. And same in the room where Josh is giving those, not orders, but when Josh is talking to CJ, Toby, and Sam. And
I liked that scene.
I liked it, but Josh isn't Toby's boss, right? I mean, maybe he was just like corralling them.
He's corralling them, but also I do kind of feel like we see them as equals so much, but I really do feel like Josh's job informs a lot of everybody else's job. We had very little Leo in this episode. Also, let's mention.
Which was that was a little odd, but yes. Right?
But yeah, I actually liked Josh showing leadership because I think in some cases, he really does not necessarily have rank over them, but just that his job touches all of the rest of theirs.
Yeah,
So it would
that
kind of
makes
make sense because he was the only one on the inside.
Right, that's true too. Which, although that felt a little, well, and this is totally just me reading into it. I know this, or I'm sure this wasn't meant to be, but it felt a tiny bit condescending when he said that if you guys had been on the inside, you would have done the same thing. Like, hey, just a reminder that you weren't on the inside. Mwahaha.
Yeah.
But
they trust him.
I guess
so
it's just right. I guess it's just that we don't see him do it often. So to see him come in, like it's not something we see, or not even often. I can't think of another time where Josh is like, do this, do this, do this. So to see him not only just suggest it, but he straight up is like, this is what we're doing. This is what you're going to do. Toby, Sam, any questions? Anything else? Like, he was very boss-like.
He was like, Sam, Toby, time to dig in. I mean, I think he was more just trying to encourage them, because they were all pretty much, I mean, CJ was saying, should we postpone the speech? Like, what are the rules? Like, they were really...
They were debating a lot,
kind of taken
and he was
aback
just, like, laying down the law. That makes sense.
Yeah. And he was just saying, hey, like, he's the president. When he walks in the room, everyone's still going to stand.
Right.
You know, so he was just, like, putting it back in perspective.
Yeah. That's fair. But speaking of the Leo absence, I really noticed it a good bit, especially when when the president calls them all in to talk about the cancer thing. Leo is almost silent that entire scene. And that seems rare. Yeah. Even afterwards, when President Bartlett's like, I'm just getting a draft. I mean, maybe he knows that it's just something Bartlett needs to do and get it out of his system. And then when he sees the draft, maybe Leo like already knows that's what's going to happen. But it's very uncharacteristic of Leo to not be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. It was just strange that Bartlett didn't go straight to Leo to say to call everyone in, and then Leo has to corral everyone. Right. It was strange that he went straight to the communications department. I mean, he was obviously very excited, but also it was a very communication-centric episode with Sam. And definitely. Also, I just liked Toby's reactions to everything, where he was just kind of like, well... He's clearly overreacting. Right. This is a gigantic waste of time, but we're going to do it because this is what we do. Right. And, you know.
I loved Sam's reaction to it. I just it felt so in character of Sam to just be, he's just like the optimist, the idealist, you know? He's like, yeah, why can't, let's cure cancer, you know? And it was just so him.
But it was strange because he is the only one that says that they should announce it. But then he's also the one that tells Bartlett that, you know, we can't do it, right? So it's like, why did you indulge him if you knew that 2 hours later you were going to go in there and tell him, like, you realize we can't do it? I don't know. It's just kind of strange.
I think it's just the idealism. I think he would just like to think they could. You know what I mean?
Sure. So, like, swing for the fence just because you can swing.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I think that's it. There were a lot of good lines in this episode, but it wasn't. There were a lot of good lines, not a lot of crazy great lines, but there were a lot. There was a good bit of like humor, you know.
Yeah, like, totally, just off the cuff.
Yeah,
just
which
like
Donna
Josh comes
with the manual.
Yeah, I mean, great. She's trying to figure out if she can reimburse. Actually, I think I want to play part of an audio clip from that as well. Yeah. Because she's pretty funny in this one. So let's play that.
No. I'm trying to figure out if you have to pay for the plane ticket to Phoenix.
It was official travel.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really seem to make a difference.
What does the rule say?
An employee may not use contract airline rail passenger service provided under the contract with the General Services Administration, see Part 301-15, Subpart B of this chapter.
What's the problem?
Well, let's set aside that there's no subpart B. The rest of it uses a sentence structure with which I'm not familiar.
Just put it on my credit card.
No, see? I think that's what this is designed to do. I think it's designed to break a person's spirit.
And damn it, that's my job.
We're getting beat by the system.
We are the system.
We suck.
Yes. I need the welfare to work memo.
How many words in the Gettysburg Address?
266.
And the Ten Commandments?
173.
So you really wouldn't think you'd need 6,000 to discover how a plane ticket gets reimbursed?
No.
No.
Oh, and she comes back later and she also just walks up right behind Josh and just says, like, so many women, so little charm.
Yes, I love that line. Of course, Toby would know how many words are in the Ten Commandments. Gettysburg Address is one thing because it's famous for being so short, but how many words are in the Ten Commandments?
Yeah, and there is some discrepancy on the numbers of that, but it's quite all right. Also, she and Josh have this moment. She's clearly very like noticeably upset about the whole Amy thing. She's just a little bit more forceful with Josh. She's more guarded.
Uh-huh.
You can definitely tell that there's an attitude with Donna now that Amy's in the picture. When Josh says like he's going on his second date with her, and she says, "Well, second date is usually where the wheels come off the wagon for you." And then also when he's trying to figure out what song the piano player at the bar always plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's like trying to describe Surrey with the fringe on top, which is funny because then later when they are in that bar, they are playing Surrey with the fringe on top, which I thought was hilarious.
Yep.
But she gets like really close to, Donna gets like really close to him when she says it the first time. And you're just kind of like, whoa, okay. Yeah, you do know things. Okay. I just love how she's such a main character at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's just, she did it. Janelle, she did it.
Sam's fiance? Sam's ex-fiance?
Lisa Sherborne Seaborn, or would have been.
Yeah.
Did you not like her?
No, I don't dislike her. It just, I don't know. I hate that I'm always one that like doesn't like people, but I didn't feel like they really fit together, which I guess makes sense since they didn't end up getting married.
Right.
But they didn't have, like, insane chemistry or anything.
Well, the thing is that Sam was, like, really shutting it down. Like, he was just super serious, Sam. He was not playful at all, which makes sense because of the State of the Union. It's, like, the most high-stakes part of his year, really. So, that makes sense. But, like, he didn't really even... He wasn't playful at all. But it makes sense at the end because... You know, he even asks her, like, why they didn't get married, which is a pretty vulnerable, big deal to ask someone, like, why things ended up the way they did. You know what I mean? And because it kind of drives why he didn't like having her there, because he was worried, like, does she think that I've done anything at all with my life? And it's so interesting to see someone vulnerable and that insecure at such a high level.
Right.
You know, like, of course you've done something with your life, but I wouldn't want any sort of ex cataloging me.
That whole scene felt a little odd to me for a couple of reasons. The main one being...
The last scene?
Yeah, the last scene. Well, not that people that high up can't do anything vulnerable, or can't not do anything. Not that people that high up can't have insecure feelings, or can't still feel like they're not doing anything, but... it just doesn't ring true. Like, I feel like Sam is very proud of his job. And I feel like Sam feels like he's making a difference all the time. Like, it doesn't ring true for everything else we've seen to me. And because Sam is always like we talked about the idealist and oh, isn't it great? This is how government works. Da-da-da-da. Like, he's sort of always beating that drum. And so that was a little weird. The second thing that was weird was that I just don't... Do relationships really end that ambiguously? Like, maybe I just am totally missing out on that. Like, I don't know of a lot of relationships where it's like, I didn't leave you, you left me. Oh, this was all a misunderstanding. Let's just get back together. Like, which is not what happened, but it's usually very clear why a relationship ended, what went wrong, and who left who.
I don't know. I feel like people have two different sides. I mean, there are two sides to every story. So I think that some people can really... That was his perspective. He thought he wasn't, like, a hipster enough for her. He didn't know all the cool things. You know, she works for Vanity Fair. It was kind of a caricature, I guess. But, you know, that's what he thought. And she thought that he left
to
do this job.
I totally think people can see it two different ways. Like, one person would think, oh, you're not being there for me enough. And the other person could think, I'm there for you all the time. I can't do it anymore. Like, I can see how there's a mismatch in that. But, like, the actual end of something, like, one of them had to have left. One of them had to have done the breaking up or the non-communicating. Like, I don't see how you could not know who ended. Like, why didn't we get married? She says, I didn't leave you, you left me. He had to know that. He had to know that he's the one who stopped responding. It just didn't ring it felt like drama for the sake of drama, or like trying to be deep for the sake of it without actually being like a genuine thing that would happen. I don't know.
I don't know. I
Maybe
believed
I just don't know anything.
It could have felt. I can see where it might have seemed contrived. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I think that the argument itself of not knowing why something ended or thinking it ended a certain way, I think that happens a lot. But I kind of do wish there was more warmth between them. You know, even just like a glimmer of it.
Yeah.
It just really...
Or if not, then like at least more backstory. Like I could see what I took from it, or what I'm imagining in my head, is that they were like high school or college, probably not high school, but maybe college sweethearts, and then they both like grew up and realized they didn't really fit together. Like that sort of made sense to me in my head. I don't know if that's actually the case, but that's the way that I sort of reconciled, like, oh, they're actually really different people, and like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish there had been a little bit more between them, but it's because even with Toby and Andy, you still get that like warmth, even when they're, you know, very forceful with each other and, you know, on different sides of the fence on different arguments.
Right.
Then again, Toby's still in love with her when he's not half in love with CJ.
Yeah.
And Sam is clearly not into it. But anyway, shout out to Traylor Howard, the actress who played Lisa. Yeah. Who's also from the TV show Monk, and Two Guys and a Girl in a Pizza Place, lest we forget.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
Oh, yes.
But I do like her. My dad watches Monk a lot, and I think she's great. So,
yeah.
It's not all hate.
And Sam, yeah, and Sam does call her Louise in the last scene. Fun fact. I've verified. It happens.
I have one other little comment that
has
been commented many, many times, but when President Bartlett is giving the State of the Union, he says, any moment in human history and the enemies of humanity itself. Homeboy does not pronounce those H's, which we know is
such a contentious thing.
Huge. But yeah. Just wanted to mention.
I don't know what that is though, but that's a thing. Like some people in academia do not pronounce their H's, and they think it's like this. They think it makes them sound more prestigious. I don't know.
Nope.
I don't understand it. Who first said that?
I don't understand it.
Who made H's optional?
Right. Nobody.
Ugh, it drives me crazy. There are definitely some pastors that I've listened to and I've gone, you know, and I'm just like, say it. Say those H's. I don't understand. We could also say another notable quotable from Bartlett. You know, when he's sitting down at the dinner table and he's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that we can cure cancer? And they all just kind of like stare at him, kind of like, that's not really what we said, but thanks for playing anyway. And then he says, this isn't barbecue night. I'm commander-in-chief. Put your asses in the chair.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. I was thinking about that, about what it'd be like to go over as, like, friends. Like, if you were, like, old friends of someone, and then they were the first lady, which I don't know that these people are old friends, but just in general, it'd be odd to be friends with the first family. Outside of, you know, it's not like, oh, it's her coworker. I mean, I guess it is, but, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Be weird if your buds were the first family, so...
I'll let you know if that ever happens.
Yeah.
What if I could actually become the first lady? That would be so strange.
Crazy.
I don't think I'd like it. I also wondered how often the president gets to eat dinner alone or like with his family, and how often it has to be used for like official business.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know. That's another reason I would not be president, because I like to be alone. Like, everybody get out of here. I'm going to eat my
just leave me
dinner
alone
and watch my Netflix.
Yeah, he doesn't get to do any of that.
No, never.
Also, can we just talk about how wonderful the whole end of the episode is? I want to play one more short audio clip, if it's okay, of CJ when she's celebrating.
Oh gosh, yeah.
At the very end, she's talking to Carol and Sam. It's like 2 seconds, but I just think it's so wonderful.
Congratulations, boss.
Nice job. Take the rest of the night off.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m.
Well, you earned it. Sam, the sunshine man. Get on the couch. I'm gonna do you right now.
Okay.
Sorry, I was still talking to Carol.
What is wrong with you?
We really don't know.
Anyway, congratulations. And if you're serious about that thing with Carol, I can just sit in the corner and not even
Get out!
Oh, And everyone's dance, and Toby says to CJ, dance with me.
I know.
It
was really great. That was one of those moments where they celebrate and you celebrate too at home. You know, it was just like, Everyone was really happy. I like it. Liked it.
There's this great app called Gifage. I don't know if you have it. I posted about it on Instagram the other day. And they have a bunch of West Wing gifts that are wonderful. And I actually posted a screenshot of one of them because it was the I Need Pie one, which just happened to coincide with Thanksgiving, so it all worked. But there's tons of great West Wing gifts. But I want to make more out of, like, the end of this episode. There's so many wonderful ones of people hugging and dancing, and
yes, I loved it.
I think that's just good for all occasions.
So celebratory. I like it.
Yeah, there's just a lot of, like, good lines here and there, just, like, off the cuff things, like when Josh is blaming Toby about his girl troubles while he's in the Oval Office. Toby just says, like, I'm just the guy who does the thing. Yep. They've run out of pie. Like, that's all he says.
Yeah, he talks a lot about pie this episode. I think that, like, 90% of his lines were about pie.
Pretty much. Yeah. Then there's Amy and Josh, where, you know, Josh is saying, like, oh, he's only dating you because he's courting women. And then she says, he happens to be more feminist than the White House. And Josh says, feminine? Like, he's just trying to undercut him at every turn.
Yeah, he is. I thought that scene was interesting because, like, we're meant to assume, along with Josh and Toby, or I think we're meant to assume, along with Josh and Toby, that he is, in fact, using her. I don't actually remember how that storyline plays out. But there is the option. I was thinking just about the power of suggestion. When he comes and tells her to come along to the photo op, like, she's his date. Like, if I were somewhere and there was a photo, like, I would want my date in the picture. You know, like, I like, it could just be totally casual, but because Josh has said something, there's that, like, that seed has been planted, and, like, nothing else is going to be innocent ever again. I mean, I'm sure that he does want her along for that reason, because he wants to be photographed with her, obviously, but it's just interesting that it could be, to me, it could be either way.
I think that would be so hard in Washington, just never fully knowing people's motives. I don't think any photo op in Washington can be thought of as, oh, we're just taking a photo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I think all of it is very
But, like, at the same time, if you take, like,
orchestrated.
you are dating this man and you are going to functions together, you're going to get your picture taken together, and you would be so paranoid all the time about, is he just doing this so that we can take our picture together? Like, but on the flip side of it, it's going to happen anyway. So, like, I don't know. Yeah, it would be very hard to know people's motives.
But I would be okay with having lots of occasions to go to that you had to dress up for.
Same.
So,
same.
You know, you win some, you lose some. There's pluses and minuses to both.
Fair.
Do we have an MVP?
I really don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Sam, but, like, now that I think about it, I don't know why. I just like his optimism and it was his night with the State of the Union. So yeah, I guess I would pick Sam.
Okay. Fair enough. I would be interested to hear if other people would pick Sam. I know that I read the AV Club's review of this episode, and they felt like the whole Sam storyline just felt a little too heavy-handed. You know, just not supernatural.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like it didn't totally land for me, but there were a lot of good things in this episode that I liked. I think that my MVP is going to be Pie.
Okay.
It gets more mentions than most, and it helped Toby write, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
Hooray! Cool. Well, I think the next one up will be the two Bartletts. Is that correct?
Sure.
If you guys have thoughts or feelings on this episode or any other episode, things that we missed, things that you liked or didn't like about the episode, or other fun facts, feel free to send them to us at TheWestWingPodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook or Twitter at Wingin It Pod. All right. Well, we'll see you for the next step.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Somebody get these guys some pie.
Hey, welcome.
Dun.
Welcome, guys. Oh, Sally just wants to sing. This is really monochromatic. Wait, that's not the right word. Monochromatic is color. Oh, we're going to have to start this whole thing over.